The summer heat enveloped the roadside gas station like a transparent shawl. The air vibrated with heat, and every sound seemed muffled. Gasoline pumps, like giants tired of the heat, stood silently waiting for the next travelers. On this very ordinary day, amidst the bustle of refueling cars, our story unfolded. Ilok Musk, a man whose appearance deceptively resembled a famous entrepreneur, did not aspire to conquer space or create revolutionary technologies. His world was much more down to earth, his ambitions more modest, and his heart much softer. He was simply refueling his old sedan, unhurriedly and a little absent-mindedly. His gaze happened to slip to a woman standing nearby. She was pregnant, and her fatigue was evident in every movement, in every line of her tense face. There was a slight confusion in her eyes, as if she'd just gotten lost in the maze of everyday life. There was something in her vulnerability, in that fragility, that hooked Ilok. Something that made his inner world respond. It wasn't just a chance encounter. It was a moment when he noticed something important, something that triggered a wave of inexplicable compassion in him. And now, in the ringing silence of the gas station, his ordinary day had taken an unexpected turn. Ilok's world, to be honest, was far from that of his famous doppelganger. His days flowed in a predictable rhythm: work, home, rare meetings with friends. There were no grandiose projects and ambitious plans in his life, only a quiet, imperceptible struggle with his own insecurities. In the depths of his soul, where the most intimate feelings were hidden, there lived a kind man, ready to come to the rescue. But that person was often hidden behind a wall of doubt. What if I look stupid? What if she thinks I'm meddling? These thoughts buzzed around in his head like pesky flies, preventing him from taking a step towards someone else's misfortune. He remembered several occasions when his acts of kindness had turned out to be awkward and misunderstood. People didn't always seem to understand his sincerity. On the outside, he could certainly pass for Elon Musk, but on the inside, he was different. A simple, insecure man who wanted to make the world a little better, but was constantly afraid of making a mistake. This gas station, with its mundane hustle and bustle, was suddenly a battlefield for him, where his desire to help and his fear of seeming intrusive collided. He saw her, a pregnant woman, so tired and defenseless, and his heart clenched with compassion. But his feet felt like they were stuck to the ground. How to approach? What to say? His inner voice was torn between duty and fear. He knew he couldn't just turn away, but he didn't know what the right thing to do was, lest he cause more discomfort. The tension was building, and the silence around him seemed to thicken, making his every inhalation and exhalation palpable. Time seemed to slow down, giving him the opportunity to make a choice that could change not only her day but his own perception of himself. And so, in that silence of the gas station, when ordinariness seemed to consume everything around him, something flickered in Ilok's soul. Fear, like an icy shell, chained him, reminding him of past attempts that had ended in embarrassment and disappointment. But today, looking at the tired woman, he felt that stiffness begin to recede. The inner voice that had previously whispered of failure now sounded a call to action. He took a deep breath, as if gathering his resolve, and took the first timid step toward her. His movements were tentative, as if he was afraid of scaring away the fragile hope that had just budded in his heart. He approached leisurely, careful not to violate her privacy, and spoke words full of genuine concern, without a shadow of ostentatious generosity. "Pardon me," he began quietly. "I noticed that you seem tired. Is there anything I can do to help you?" A flicker of surprise flickered in her eyes, replaced by a look of mild gratitude. It was not a look of expectation, but rather surprise that someone had noticed her condition at all. And so a dialogue ensued, as simple and casual as a conversation between two strangers meeting at a crossroads. He learned that she was going to another town, that the road was tiring her, and that she had little money left for the long journey. It was not just sympathy that grew in his soul. An emotional connection based on understanding and compassion was born. He saw in her not just a stranger, but a person in a difficult situation, a person who needed help. And this discovery, like a thin thread, connected them, making Ilok forget about his own fears and doubts. As if obeying an invisible call, Ilok left his car and approached the woman. He didn't just offer to help with refueling, which would have been expected. He noticed her tentatively trying to open the trunk, and without hesitation, he rushed to her aid. His hands, normally clumsy, now moved with unexpected dexterity, quickly dealing with the jammed lock. But that was only the beginning. Ilok, noticing her fatigue, suggested she sit down in the shade while he checked the tire pressure himself. He bought her some cool water and fruit, not forgetting himself, but his concern for her clearly came first. The people around them who were refueling their cars could not help but notice what was happening. Their faces, at first indifferent, now expressed surprise and perhaps even admiration. They seemed to have seen such unselfish kindness for the first time. Ilok, however, ignoring the stares, continued to care for the woman as if she were his dearest. The culmination of this unexpected act came when, after learning of her onward journey to another city, he offered to give her a ride. This decision, which went beyond a simple desire to help, spoke of his willingness to sacrifice his own time and plans for the well-being of a complete stranger. The woman, stunned at first, couldn't hold back tears of gratitude. Her eyes, full of fatigue, now shone with hope. Ilok, seeing her reaction, felt a warmth in his chest. He hadn't expected such gratitude, but it was what gave him a sense of finality to this moment. He was not like a famous entrepreneur in his actions, but in his heart lived the very kindness that could change the world. And this was only the beginning of their extraordinary story, for the road before them held more than just kilometers of travel. Their journey began not just as a journey from point A to point B, but as a journey inside themselves. The road spread out before them like a metaphor for their state of mind, leading them through hills and valleys, reflecting the ups and downs of life. In the cabin of the car, where chance had woven their destinies together, a frank conversation resounded. There was no small talk or formal phrases. They shared intimate things, telling each other of their hopes and disappointments, of dreams that seemed so far away. Ilok, usually reserved, felt something change inside as he listened to her story, full of hardship and determination. She, in turn, saw in him not just a stranger offering help, but a man who could understand her pain. With each kilometer they traveled together, their bond grew stronger. Ilok learned of her plans for the future, of her fears, and that her heart, despite everything, was full of love and hope. He told her about his thoughts on life, about how sometimes it is difficult to find one's way, about how important it is to stay true to oneself. This dialogue was like a dance. One led the other, and each pass had a meaning. Each line echoed in the soul of the other. The scenery outside the window was changing, like a scenery for their inner journey. The sun, rising above the horizon, colored the sky in gentle shades of hope, and the green fields stretching to the horizon symbolized new beginnings. Even the calm that reigned in their silence was filled with understanding and mutual support. On this journey, somewhere between the gas station and the end point, they had both found more than just a traveling companion. They found someone who could listen, understand, and share their burden. Their road trip was not just a highway, but a time where they grew closer to themselves and each other. This trip changed not only their location, but also their souls, leaving a trail of warmth and light that foreshadowed more than just arriving at their destination. And so, they reached their destination. The small town, shrouded in the evening mist, seemed like a haven of hope. The moment of parting hung in the air, filled with quiet sadness and sincere gratitude. There was a warmth in the woman's eyes, not so weary now, that warmed not only her, but Ilok's as well. He watched her, smiling, disappear behind the door of the small house, and felt that something inside him had changed forever. This act, which had begun as an act of fleeting compassion, had become something much more to him. Ilok realized that his actions were not just an act of kindness, but a kind of inner catharsis. It was as if he had gone through an ordeal that helped him see the world and himself in it in a new way. The strength he was looking for in some external achievement turned out to be hidden in his own ability to empathize. He realized that true power lies not in wealth or fame, but in the ability to reach out to someone in need. In that moment, he felt truly strong, confident, and most importantly, truly alive. His heart, previously shackled by fears and doubts, was now open to the world. The impact of his action was not limited to himself and this woman. Witnesses to this unexpected display of humanity, those who watched him at the gas station, felt their hearts grow softer. They saw that kindness exists, that it is real and can transform the world around us. Their view of those around them may have become a little different, more considerate and compassionate. It is in this way, in small steps, that a chain reaction of kindness is born that can change entire communities. Ilok, unlike the man whose name he bears, did not seek to conquer technological heights. He found his strength in his humanity, in his ability to see the pain and joy of others as his own. He realized that it is compassion and kindness that make us truly human, able not only to exist, but to live life to the fullest. The story does not end there, for there is another aspect that deserves attention.